welcome to the newsroom. Breaking this hour, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has called on the international community to intervene firmly to stop Israeli attacks on Lebanon following a deadly strike on Beirut's southern suburbs. Aoun has urged the world to take responsibility and prevent further assaults on Lebanon and its people. According to Lebanon's health ministry, the strike killed at least 5 people today and injured 28 people. Israel has confirmed that it had targeted Hezbollah chief of staff, but Hezbollah officials described the attack as crossing a new red line and confirmed it was aimed at a senior commander. The situation continues to escalate with tensions high. Let's listen into what Mahmoud Omati, deputy leader of Hezbollah's political council, has said.
أنا أقول أن هناك شخصية جهادية تم استهدافها وسوف نعلن عن الاسم بشكل رسمي عندما نتيقن إذا بالفعل اليوم الضاحية الجنوبية يخرج خط أحمر جديد سبق أن أغلق بفترة.
Now, we move on to our next news. In Khan Yunis, Gaza, Palestinians are encouraging Gaza's youth to engage in sports despite limited resources amidst a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The coach over there has explained that they were forced to make do with whatever resources they had to bring young people together. Locals believe that while athletes in Gaza may have been weak and fragile over the past 2 years, they still possess the mindset to succeed if given the right opportunities. They hope that with improved conditions, sports in Gaza can begin to thrive again within a year, helping to build a new generation of athletes. Let's listen into what one of the basketball coaches has shared.
طبعا دمرت كل شيء حتى الملاعب ومدارس الأنور حتى مدارس زوجة فلسطين اللي كنا نستغلها للألعاب للعب كرة السلة. اليوم اضطرينا احنا نكون نلعب في الشوارع فقلنا من بين المخيمات احنا بين حتى الأحذية فقدناها الأحذية والملابس الزي طبعا وكل ما يتعلق في الرياضة كله فقدناه فاضطرينا احنا بجميع الامكانيات جميع الوسائل اقل شيء ان احنا نعمل امكانيات ونجيب اللي هو الشباب ونلعبهم كرة السلة.
على مدار سنتين لنا في الحرب بنعاني ولا شفنا شبابنا ولا شفنا حاجة واحنا في الحرب هذه سنتين جتنا مش عارف من وين. وزي ما انت شايف بنمارس الكرة في السلة يعني في الشارع في السلة.
Coming, like fix it. Oman's Minister of the Royal Office, General Sultan bin Mohammed al-Numani, met with Syrian Foreign Minister Assad al-Shabani to discuss strengthening bilateral relations and cooperation. They explored ways to enhance economic ties, focusing on trade, investment, and joint projects. The ministers also discussed facilitating businesses opportunities, direct flights, and Omani participation in Syria's reconstruction. They emphasized the importance of activating the Oman-Syrian Joint Committee and promoting greater coordination in commercial investment matters. The meeting highlights the two countries' commitment to deepening economic cooperation and opening new trade opportunities. Now we move on to our next news. Chinese Premier Li Qiang has said that China is ready to deepen strategic alignment with Italy and strengthen what he calls a more stable and fruitful comprehensive strategic partnership. He made the remarks during a meeting with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Johannesburg. Li has highlighted the 55th anniversary of diplomatic ties and said both countries have actively implemented the roadmap set out during Prime Minister Meloni's meeting with President Xi Jinping last year. He has said that China seeks to expand two-way trade to boost market and industrial connectivity and invite more Italian companies to take part in China's major trade expos. He has also urged Italy to ensure a fair and predictable business environment for Chinese companies and called for deeper cooperation in tourism, education, youth exchanges, and multilateral forums. Prime Minister Meloni said Italy remains committed to strengthening the partnership and expanding cooperation in trade, investment, and technology. Now we move on to our next news. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has said that he's very concerned about the growing U.S. military buildup near Venezuela, warning that the increase in American forces in the Caribbean risks escalating tension in an already fragile region. President Lula says Brazil is monitoring the situation closely, especially as Washington signals it may launch a new phase of operations targeting Nicolas Maduro's government. U.S. officials have said that covert actions may accompany any military positioning, adding to anxiety across South America. Lula says he intends to speak directly with U.S. President Donald Trump to seek clarification and urge restraint, stressing that regional stability must come before any show of force. He has also reiterated Brazil's commitment to diplomacy, warning that miscalculation could fuel further unrest along Venezuela's borders.
A mim me preocupa muito o aparato militar que os Estados Unidos colocou no Mar do Caribe. A mim me preocupa muito. E eu pretendo conversar com o presidente Trump sobre isso, porque está me preocupando.
Brazilians in the capital, Brasilia, broke into music and danced at a prominent leftist bar after former President Jair Bolsonaro was taken into custody. Authorities say Bolsonaro tried to break his ankle monitor in an apparent attempt to flee house arrest, while he appeals a conviction linked to his alleged role in a foiled coup attempt. Police moved in after satellite data from the device showed tampering, prompting a rapid response in operation to prevent what officials describe as a possible escape plan. Bolsonaro denies wrongdoing, but prosecutors say he continues to obstruct justice. The former leader was already barred from running for office and faces multiple investigations tied to efforts to overturn the 2022 election. His detention has enraged critics nationwide, with many calling the move a long-awaited step towards accountability.
Fiz pega de surpresa que foi muito cedo, mas acordar e ver que ele estava preso no dia 22 de novembro, a espera grande foi uma surpresa muito boa. Estou muito feliz, a gente está aqui para comemorar.
Achei fabulosa, achei que já tinha passado da hora, a democracia finalmente venceu e ele vai pagar pelos mais de 700 mil mortes que ele causou na pandemia. A justiça foi feita.
Tudo que atentar contra a democracia tem que ser freado, né? Tem que comemorar também quando a gente consegue esse feito histórico, democrático.
As South America's G20 Leaders Summit came to a close yesterday, analysts said the world can still work towards a final agreement in the absence of the United States, but acknowledged that it did set an unfortunate precedent. President Donald Trump boycotted the November 22 to 23rd summit, citing allegations that South Africa's government persecutes its white minority, which are claims that have been widely debunked. He also rejected the summit's agenda on supporting developing nations, including climate adaptation, clean energy transition, and reducing excessive debt costs. Despite his absence, President Ramaphosa has secured consensus among the attending leaders for a joint declaration. The document highlighted the urgency of climate change, promoted renewable energy targets, and noted high debt burdens in poor countries. Let's listen into what analysts said on the summit's outcomes.
What it actually says, it's not about the personalities of Ramaphosa and Trump. It's about the majority of leaders that are here at this summit is in agreement with the declaration. That's it, full stop. One country decided to boycott. It's unfortunate. We would have wanted that country to be here, but they are not. It doesn't mean and doesn't at all suggest that there is a problem with this declaration.
I think at the end of the day, not being here also opens them up for levels of vulnerability, but it also signals that by doing what they have done, they've now opened the door to that kind of behavior. And I think the frustration from some of the G20 leaders was that we will not be disrespected in this way. And then therefore, I think the fact that the US is not here doesn't mean they become irrelevant, but it means that the world still carries on without them.
The boycott was declared days ago, so it's been known that the US won't be here, right? The suggestion that the president will hand over to a junior embassy official is a breach of protocol, which was never going to be allowed. It has never happened before, and it wasn't going to happen for the first time in South Africa. No head of state anywhere in the world will take time to meet a charge d'affaires. It just doesn't happen.
Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has said that the peace plan for Ukraine should be revised to ensure both Ukrainians and Europeans feel represented. Let's listen in.
Dando y reconociendo el esfuerzo que hace la administración estadounidense, creo que ese plan, esa propuesta de paz, tiene que ser revisada en profundidad, sobre todo para que los europeos y los ucranianos nos podamos sentir representados y podamos construir esa paz justa y duradera que lógicamente merecen y necesitan los ucranianos y desde luego necesita también Europa.
This comes as Ukrainian, US, and European officials gathered in Geneva to discuss a draft plan presented by Washington following concerns over major concessions to Russia. Additionally, Sanchez has also stressed the importance of respecting international law and pursuing dialogue to peacefully resolve crisis. He has further noted that the lack of recognition of leaders, such as in Venezuela, should not prevent negotiation channels. Moreover, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has said that he is not convinced Ukraine will reach an agreement within the timeline set by President Donald Trump's peace plan. He has also said that his upcoming visit to China next year will focus on trade and global stability, and he believes China could exert influence on Russia in the context of Ukraine's conflict. Let's listen into his comments.
Deutschland Richtung China. China ist eins der einflussreichsten, vielleicht das einflussreichste Land Richtung Russland, und natürlich muss diese Macht auch genutzt werden, um alles zu tun, damit der Krieg beendet wird.
Ich betrachte dieses Gespräch auch als weiteres Vorbereitungsgespräch für meinen Besuch in China im nächsten Jahr, der feststeht, allerdings jetzt zeitlich noch ein bisschen eingegrenzt werden muss, aber der steht fest für die ersten Wochen des nächsten Jahres. Und Gespräche, China ist für Deutschland ein wichtiger Handelspartner. China ist eine wichtige Ordnungsmacht auf der Welt. Sie haben nicht nur in der Region, sondern weit darüber hinaus viel Einfluss, auch auf das, was wir sozusagen als globale Ordnung am Horizont aufscheinen sehen. Und ich will Lars Klingbeil ausdrücklich zustimmen. China kann Einfluss ausüben auf Russland. Und dieser Einfluss könnte nach unserer gemeinsamen Einschätzung durchaus auch ein bisschen größer sein. Ich muss sagen, das, was mich heute und gestern hier wirklich schon ein Stück weit fasziniert hat, ist die Tatsache, dass man doch sieht, dass die Welt sich im Augenblick neu ordnet und dass hier neue Verbindungen entstehen und dass auch die Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika eine ziemlich geringe Rolle gespielt haben. Bis auf das Schlusswort von Ramaphosa, der dann übergeben hat sozusagen an die Nachfolge. Also hier hat viel stattgefunden und dabei ist Amerika mal am Rande erwähnt worden, aber ich glaube, es war keine gute Entscheidung der amerikanischen Regierung, hier zu fehlen. Aber das muss die Amerikaner.
Now we move on to our next news. Umaro Sissoco Embalo, the outgoing president of Guinea-Bissau, voted in the presidential and legislative elections, with many considering him the favorite to win the first round. At 53, Embalo reflects on his historic position as the first president in Guinea-Bissau to seek a second term. He hopes to continue his political journey and complete his predecessors could not, a full term with the possibility of re-election. In a statement, Embalo has expressed his desire to break the cycle of instability in the country, noting that none of his predecessors, including former President Jose Maria Vaz, managed to complete their term and seek re-election. Despite Vaz's failure to win a second term, Embalo remains optimistic about his chances of securing his own succession. Let's listen in.
Y en Tucumán, y todos los candidatos está totalmente prohibido en cuanto se que publica resultado, não que pode, começando para mim próprio, que candidato que não vai ganhar, não está totalmente proibido para fazer manifestações enquanto CNE que proclama resultados. Je suis le premier président de la Guinée-Bissau qui va voter son deuxième mandat. Et donc j'espère continuer comme ça. Parce que tous les autres, malheureusement, personne n'arrivait à achever son mandat et d'aller voter. Marivoise l'a fait, il a perdu. Mais moi, je serai celle qui va continuer sa propre succession. Non, j'invite tout le monde d'aller voter massivement pour élire la personne qui lui donne la stabilité et la personne qui lui donne le progrès pour la Guinée-Bissau, pour bâtir la Guinée-Bissau.
In Lille, a northern French city, a new digital initiative is making it easier for residents to donate to people living on the streets. With cash becoming less common, a 22-year-old local has created a project called Solely, which provides homeless people with rechargeable payment cards. These cards allow passers-by to directly top up the balance from their smartphones, making it easier and more secure to offer support. The tool aims to modernize charitable giving and ensure that donations reach those in need without the hassle of physical cash. The project has already gained traction, offering a simple digital solution to a growing social issue. Let's listen into some locals.
Donc Soli, c'est une association qui distribue des cartes de paiement gratuitement aux personnes qui font la manche afin de dématérialiser les dons grâce à nos smartphones. C'est-à-dire qu'on distribue des cartes avec nos associations partenaires de maraude et sur cette carte-là, il y a un QR code. Et lorsqu'on scanne ce QR code-là, on tombe sur le formulaire de don de la personne et on peut lui donner entre 2 et 100 euros. Le don est défiscalisable.
C'est quoi l'enjeu ?
Et là, avec la carte bleue qu'on vient d'avoir, franchement, ça va aider beaucoup de gens. Parce que maintenant, comme les personnes ne sont plus juste une monnaie à donner, ils disent ouais, on a une carte bleue et tout ça. Et ça, maintenant, ça va bien aider les personnes qui sont sur la rue pour se payer une nuit d'hôtel ou manger. C'est bien, au moins, il n'y aura pas d'addiction à l'alcool ou à la drogue. En fait, c'est bénéfique pour tout le monde. Et par exemple, si les personnes...
Et il y a pas mal de monde qui vont déjà dire vous n'avez pas un TPE et en fait littéralement là ça va les bluffer. C'est une solution qui va surprendre je pense et ce sera la manche de demain comme on dit malheureusement. Enfin, malheureusement. Ouais. Il faut...
Now we move on. 15 years after its creation, the Paris street art Mausoleum by artists Lek and Sowat has finally opened its doors to the public located on the outskirts of Paris. The 40,000 square meter site, a former supermarket, has been transformed into a sprawling art space. Nearly 3/4 of the space has been reimagined by a variety of artists, each invited by Lek and Sowat to create works that engage with the architecture and the history of the site. Mausoleum blends street art with the building's legacy, offering visitors a unique experience that connects contemporary art with the city's urban landscape. Let's listen into some artists commenting on the Mausoleum.
Déjà, dans un premier temps, c'était vraiment une partie urbex. En tout cas, c'était vraiment découvrir un lieu, puisque à chaque fois qu'on peut rentrer dans ce type de lieu, déjà avant même de peindre, on l'appréhende, tu vois, on essaye de savoir un peu ce qui s'y passe. Tu vois, s'il y a des gens qui y vivent encore, en tout cas, quel type d'ambiance il peut y avoir à l'intérieur même. Donc, déjà dès le départ.
C'est un squat et quand Lek trouve l'endroit, c'est comme si on avait trouvé une capsule temporelle, tout était encore là. Les matelas, les habits des gens, la nourriture, tout était là. Et donc cette capsule temporelle, c'est pas quelque chose qu'on a ignoré, au contraire, il y avait vraiment cette idée de sublimer un endroit qui a vécu quelque chose de très dur et qui en est marqué.
C'est-à-dire un terrain, n'importe qui peut y aller, il y a du recouvrement, c'est le but en fait. On sait que les œuvres vont être éphémères par nature, c'est premier arrivé, premier servi. Là ici, il y a une espèce de conscientisation de l'espace, un jeu avec l'architecture, le volume, et aussi essayer de trouver des accords entre l'artiste et l'espace proposé. Vraiment jouer sur le in situ, mais avec une certaine cohérence dans l'esthétique et la démarche de l'artiste. Et ça, c'est quelque chose que Lek et Sowat développent à ce moment-là, en 2010, avec ce projet-là, et qui va en inspirer beaucoup d'autres derrière, qui vont essayer de...
With that, it's a wrap on the newsroom. Keep watching for more breaking updates.